Okay, I had a few questions since I posted that last video on how I use my sticks in this new aider system. So I thought I'd cover them real quickly. Sorry about how I'm dressed. I just got off work and I'm heading out for hunting tomorrow. So I'll make this short and sweet. The number one concern I had a couple people ask about is, oh my gosh, you're hanging that around your neck. That's an accident waiting to happen. When I said hanging around my neck, I just meant simply hanging it around my shoulder like that, okay? I don't really find this overly dangerous while I'm standing on a stick, but hey, if you do, it's very simple. You can hold it in your hand while you step up one step on a stick. You can fold it up and put it in the cargo pocket, put it in your pack. You know, you can do whatever you really want to do. For me personally, I'm standing on my first step. I take this off. I simply just throw it around like that. I step up one step on the same stick, alignment belt still on, and I hang my next stick. I immediately take it off, hang it on the top. I never feel like there's any compromise or danger of me falling, but you know what? If that concerns you, by all means put it in the pocket, okay? Another question that I had regarded why I don't feel it's necessary to put stealth strips on my sticks. No real reason. I take my time and I go slow, so I'd never make noise with them. But if you're concerned about an accidental bumping or whatever, you can certainly put stealth strips on them, duct tape, whatever you're comfortable with, and there's nothing wrong with it. The primary reason why I don't put stealth strips or I don't wrap my stands in paracord is I hunt in Texas and Oklahoma a lot, and it's usually 80, 90 degrees and I'm sweating, and I don't want porous material on something I'm handling with my bare hands all the time, because I believe it will collect scent over the course of a year or two, and there's no way of really effectively cleaning that. I guess you could take it to a power washer and wash it off. I wash all my hunting gear and my clothing after every hunt. I have duplicate packs, duplicate straps and all that, so I have fresh equipment every time I go out. I'm not a big scent freak, and I'm not going to get into a big debate on scent control, but what I do believe is I try to reduce as much of it as I can, and I don't want a whole bunch of human sweat collecting on my gear, hanging on a tree, creating an even bigger scent footprint throughout my hunt. So that's why I personally don't do it, but if you want to, you can. Some of the other questions I had was how long are my sticks now in between steps? They're actually 23.5 inches long, 22 inches in between bolts, so that's 22 inches between steps. I cut mine off at the top and I just took my middle steps and moved them up. Sunk my Versa button. I use 1/4 inch am steel. That was another question, what size am steel? And how I attach it is I'll loop it around behind the rope once, loop it again, throw a couple 1/2 inches, and then once again, I don't leave that cord dangling down. I put it and wrap it around the stick. The bungees came with the helium sticks, but if I was going to make some, I'd just get a plastic ball, drill a couple holes through it, attach some bungee cord on it to where it's tight. The foam padding material that I used in here was just a simple Walmart exercise pad, and I just taped it in place, and it helps keeps us to where it's not banging together. Trying to think if I had any more. Why do I paint them? Do I think deer will see them if I don't paint them? No. I use them one whole year without painting them. I just know that through the course of a year, metal starts showing, so I paint them every year. I don't do it right before season. I usually paint my sticks in January or February, and they sit outside in my carport outside all year long, so there's no odor of paint, which some felt might be a problem. And I think that's primarily all the questions I had on my sticks. There was some question about why I went to a one aider instead of using one on each stick. To be blunt with you, because deer seen me twice. I had 2 bucks that I was after last season, not this hunting season, but the previous season, that were coming in, and I know they saw my aider. It drew their attention. I know it wasn't the wind because I keep constant milk pods in the air, and I understand thermals, and I had the perfect wind setup. Wouldn't have been hunting that tree stand had it not been. It certainly wasn't making any noise. It was only moving about like that. and it wasn't touching anything, so it wasn't noise and it wasn't scent. And one of those bucks was trailing a doe at 25 yards, and he froze and looked immediately at my bottom aider, and there's no doubt in my mind he saw it moving. And that was enough for these older deer. They tend to be super suspicious, and when something don't look right or something don't sound right, they tend to vacate. If they catch it with their nose, they're out of there. Okay, so I know he didn't catch my scent. I know how a buck reacts when he picks up human scent, and that wasn't what happened there. What happened there is he saw something, and it was continue to move about like that, and he was watching it, and he didn't like what he was seeing, and he knew that wasn't supposed to be there, and he just veered off course. Okay, so that's why I personally do it. One other advantage with going to this one aider is when you're hanging them on your bottom step, you kind of have to step down and kind of feel your way to that step, and sometimes it's in the, well, a lot of times I'm coming down in the dark. With this, it's hanging on your top, so you don't have to step down. What you can actually do is pull this out and pull it up to your foot and then let it down. So you're not trying to fish and guess where that thing is, and you're not trying to look down with your headlamp and stuff. You can actually manipulate it, put your foot in it, and it's just much safer. So that's another advantage for going to this system. I can't see myself ever going back to a separate strap on each stick. There's just no sense in it. Like I said, it's still hunting season. I've got a couple more weeks left. The nearest public land that has trees on it's about an hour away from here, and that's why you're not going to get a video until probably January or February. And I'll go through exactly how I set up on a tree. I'll probably speed it up a little bit, but you know, one of the things I do when I'm setting up on a tree is I take my time. I actually try to force myself to slow down, because when I do get in a rush or when I'm hurrying, that's when things go wrong. That's when accidents happen. That's when I make mistakes. That's when things start clanging together. There was one other question on my sticks, you know, about clanging and banging together. I only use 3 sticks. That's all I ever use. The first one that goes on the tree. The second one I take and flip up a little higher and attach it temporary to the tree until I climb up, and then I'll reposition it. So I only have 1 stick that goes on my saddle, and it goes right here, and it's secured to where it don't swing. All right, the way I attach it, and I'll show that in a future video, it doesn't swing. My platform then goes on this side right here, and it don't swing. So there's no chance of metal to metal banging together behind me, and I do that on purpose. You know, I try to minimize things that can move around a lot and hit together and cause noise. All right, so that was another question, is how I managed to get 3 sticks up without them banging together and stuff, and that's how I do it. If I need to go higher than 20 foot, which very seldom do I go above 20, I just 1 stick the last stick. I always have my tether in my pouch, so it's not a problem to 1 stick up, you know. And you know, as a traditional archer, I don't really like to get above 20 foot anyway. The angle for me is just, the sight picture is just not what I'm used to and not what I like. So I'm usually at 16 to probably 18, 20 foot is where I like to set up. So that's all I can think of right now. I hope that answers your questions on the system. Like I said, you know, it's my system. It's not for everyone. My beliefs may not fall in line with what you believe. You know, still strip away if that is a concern for you. I personally don't have a problem with making noise without doing it, and like I said, I don't usually want a lot of porous material on my equipment that I can't take off and wash frequently, just to keep that scent footprint down, even though I do believe you can't eliminate all human scent. But I do believe, you know, the stronger the scent, the more alert the deer can be. So I just try to reduce it as much as I can. Okay? Any more questions, post them below and I'll try to get to them.